peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Fellow Africans, since 1957, when Ghana gained independence, there has been quite a lot of political, social, economic indicators on the African continent that show that Africa has progressed from pre-independence Africa to post-independence Africa.
Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever. From now on, there is a new African in the world. That new African is ready to fight his own battle and show that after all, the black man is capable of managing his own affairs.
66 years down the road, Africa finds itself with the first country, Ghana, having gained independence. We find ourselves still locked up, controlled, manipulated, instructed, logistically supplied, equipped by foreign powers that dictate our agenda. Africa is endowed with plenty of minerals, resources, good weather. The climate is so favorable for the growth of food enough to sustain us. But we find ourselves in countries where hunger is killing people. Hunger is killing people because most of the people have taken to arms to fight wars, conflicts. Starvation has taken the place of development. In most African countries like Sudan, South Sudan, Central African Republic, Cameroon, Nigeria, in Biafra, and the north of Nigeria there is Boko Haram, Somalia in the Horn of East Africa. We have taken to conflict instead of development. Development was the key indicator. When Kwame Nkrumah made the first speech that seek ye African political unity, economic development will come automatically, he was right. The events happening in Libya today vindicates Nkrumah, vindicates Nyerere, Sekou Toure, and Nasser, the founding fathers of our Pan-Africanism. The events happening in Central African Republic, in Congo today, as the war of rebels ranges on between the rebel and the rebels and the government and the rebels, vindicates the founding fathers of this revolution. Our independence, therefore, was only on paper. Our independence, therefore, was only in symbols. Our independence also was in signs. Our independence also was in boundaries. That we received our flags, but we never received full independence as by the word independence. Most of the 3/4 of African countries, French-speaking countries, have their budgets being done in Paris. Is that independence? The Paris government or the French government does its budgets based on how much they will get from African countries. Is that independence? Is this the Africa that you want? Is it the Africa that we must look at? Is it the Africa that we shall leave for the future generation? If the answer to you is yes, then so be it. But if the answer is no, you agree with me that this is not Africa we want to live for the future generation. Our generations and the future generation need to find a legacy. What is the legacy that Africa and African Union will leave for the future generation? The wars ranging in Libya, in South Sudan, in Khartoum, in Mogadishu, in DRC Congo, in Amazonia, in Cameroon, Boko Haram, Mali, in Mauritania, the uprisings in Algeria, all point to one thing, that yes, we are not yet independent. We are still controlled by external forces. Thank you. Today, thousands and thousands of Africans and many countries in Africa have conflicts. Notably, from Libya, Cameroon, Nigeria, Biafra, and the Boko Haram, to Democratic Republic of Congo, of where we have seen a resurgence of the past military and conflicts coming back in that country. Hundreds and hundreds of people have been displaced, killed, maimed, tortured, raped, several of them dying of hunger, starvation, and other natural causes. The fighting seems not to be ending. For the sake of Libya, the Libyan recognized international government is under siege in Tripoli from another faction recognized by Egypt, France, UAE, and other countries. Whereas the one in Tripoli is recognized by the UN, it has been bombarded, has been strangulated, and many millions of Libyans are dying of hunger, lack of water. The water system has been cut off. The bombardment goes on. In Democratic Republic of Congo, we've seen more of active rebel activities returning to the region after some silence has been observed. When we come to Cameroon, we see millions and millions of Amazonians slaughtered. Yet, when you come to Biafra, again millions and hundreds of millions and millions are worried, displaced, tortured by the Buhari regime. Yet again in the north, we see Boko Haram killing, maiming, abducting, and burning down villages in the same Nigeria. When you cross over to Central African Republic, the same is the history that has littered Africa. While all these events are taking shape, Africa is silent. Africa is not making enough efforts to find a solution to what is causing the problems in Libya, in DRC, in Cameroon, in Nigeria, Biafra, and now you add in Khartoum, Sudan. As people die, the people of Africa have no answers, have no solutions. There is nothing to bring an end to the conflicts that have killed Africa. We seem to be new ones manufactured, old ones reignited, encouragement coming from external powers. One power that has been seen in the shadows of all these conflicts, especially the one of Libya that has escalated in the Sahara region of Africa, is France. When you come to Democratic Republic of Congo, the same country is in the shadows. The war can be seen is France. When you come to Cameroon, in Amazonia, the one behind that has the key to bringing peace is France. Therefore, our question as Africans, why are we silent? Why are we not saying enough is enough of the wars? Thank you. There are a number of countries in Africa that produce oil. Kenya today became one of the member states of oil producing countries in Africa. It exported its first oil where President Uhuru Kenyatta flagged off the oil that was got from Turkana in one of the northeastern parts of this country. But is oil a curse to Africa? Is oil a curse to the entire places where oil is found? We see in the Middle East, the wars in Iran, in Saudi Arabia, in Yemen, in United Arab Emirates. It has developed the area in Qatar. We all have many cities, skyscrapers coming up because of the proceeds from the oil. But can Africa emulate that example and bring the same oil proceeds to make sure that it makes lives better for the people, the betterment of the people of Africa and their families and their other activities? I want to see that. But I might not be able to explain why Africa always falls a victim. Are there external forces that make the oil in Africa to become sour? Is it the competition of the oil companies, Total and Shell BP and others that come to Africa to take the share of the oil? Simply because we have no energy, ability to be able to drill the oil ourselves, refine it ourselves. It is shocking, therefore, to go to Nigeria, for example, a country that produces third in the world for oil production, has no petrol at petrol station. Is this not a curse? If it's not a curse, what do you call it? Thank you. Good evening, viewers. Welcome to Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting all the way from the Republic of Kenya in Nairobi and across Africa in Malawi, in Blantyre, Lilongwe. The people of Malawi are waiting. They are waiting any time now. The results of the petition that was filed by the opposition party against President Mutharika is being read as we speak. In this program, we want to look at what ails Africa, what makes African elections contestable. Yes, elections are supposed to be contested, but after contesting elections, why is it Africa is tensed? We are tensed. We are told some people have refused to agree to the results. We are told there are people who are not very, very interested in knowing or accepting or even making sure that there is a problem. Viewers, today Africa faces challenges. The challenges of Africa of balancing democracy. I was writing a paper this morning about how the African Union will stop the difficulties of conflicts, how conflicts and the guns will actually be silenced in Africa. I talked at length, I wrote about balancing democracy. I took two examples of Africa. Two examples, one from Zimbabwe and one from Uganda, where I was born some 60 years ago. I told the people, in that article, Matsanga Leaks, at least President Museveni brought an ideology of security. Uganda is secure, is secured, is secured in the sense that Uganda puts security priority. That's a very good one, a very good dogma in analysis in terms of political engagement, democracy. But again, that type of security needs democracy. You must balance security with democracy. That's what I said. In Zimbabwe, President Mugabe did not like to hear a word transition. I remember very well that I, in Addis Ababa, went to President Mugabe's hotel in Sheraton Hotel, Addis Ababa. As usual, I have been one of the few defenders, I was one of the few defenders of Zimbabwe, asking for sanctions to be removed. And in our quick discussion, I said, Your Excellency, we need to prepare a transition. Mr. President said, what a transition to where? I said we needed a transition in order to keep our legacy. Africa needed to keep the legacy. Africa needed to give, Zimbabwe needed a legacy. President Mugabe had a legacy. He said, I will be going to talk to my political bureau and the Central Committee of ZANU-PF. Little known to me was that he was going to tell his wife, who later on turned up to be the transition herself. So Africa needs to balance democracy. Balancing democracy stops conflicts. Balancing democracy stops guns, violence. If you balance democracy, a balancing act in democratic dispensation is very much needed in Africa. And therefore, Malawi today finds itself in that quagmire. The political quagmire that we see in Malawi, as my co-host, Miriam Ogutu, coming in with the real background analysis before I go down into the real story of why Africa. I talked yesterday, the other day, why elections? Do we need elections in Africa? So many people have not even answered me. Nobody has given me a convincing answer as to why we need elections. Then after these elections, we kill each other. Nobody has. President Uhuru Kenyatta in Kenya is looking for a BBI in order to stop the bloodshed in 2022. It's elections. Kenyans have been living so comfortably, so peacefully during the 3 years, 4 years. But when it came to say 2022, it is the word, the media, is the word everybody is singing, the main media, the girls that are seated, the men who are seated in the television station. If you come out of the station without mentioning 2022, you will be called mad. You need a transition to prepare people in a transition, those who will take over from you. That in political science is called a transition. Transition from one government to the other one peacefully handed over. That is the thing that Africa lacks. Now I want to take this opportunity to introduce my co-host. I've been hiding her behind the scenes. And don't get me wrong, hallelujah, that I will word by word. And I warned you. I told people that by 2020, over 12 countries in sub-Saharan Africa will have problems. I want to, after she has finished, we want to count them. I warned the people. That is 2016. No, yes, 2016. My editors behind will bring up the clips. I said, I mentioned the countries. 12 countries. 12 countries will fall in chaos because of elections. I want to thank you very much. Over to Miriam. Take the background history of the Malawi elections. We are awaiting anxiously, even north of Lake Malawi. We are waiting. We want to hear what the judges will do. To me, from what we have been following, I can predict. I don't want people to bet money because I don't do betting. I'm one of the few people who does not do betting. I hate it. Betting either karata or betting with cards or casino is out of my blood, my mouth. Those who know me for over 64 years. I hate it and I will not like to bet. But it is north of Lake Malawi, not Limpopo. We are not in Zimbabwe. We are above Tanzania, therefore north of Lake Malawi. Mr. Mohaji Abdi from Mogadishu. Thank you very much. From the reading of this, there was no intimidation. The judges might disagree, and the majority judges will take it. Because at some extent, we have been following the entire story. To some extent that some judges are saying there was no evidence of intimidation. Some judges said there was double voting. Some judges said that there were no people running for election. It was an it for all, kabisa. So I hope we are not facing the CJ Maraga scandal.
They actually quoted the Kenyan elections that was nullified in 2017. They are one of the judges while giving their ruling. A very good evening to you, and thank you so much for joining us today. Even as we look at, is Malawi, is it on a tipping point? And so just a very short background, and I know even today in the morning you talked about it, and we've been talking about this Malawi issue, you've been following it, and now of course, Malawi Constitutional Court is set to rule on whether the annual controversial poll results the re-election of President Peter Mutharika, a verdict widely expected to stoke a turmoil. Now, police in Malawi closed all roads leading to the High Court in the capital, Lilongwe, and where judges of the country's Constitutional Court were delivering the verdict in a case that is challenging, of course, the vote for the re-election of President Peter Mutharika. So, of course, the elections in Malawi were held last year on the 21st of May, and thereafter the opposition went to court, led, of course, by Lazarus Chakwera, a leader of the Malawi Congress Party, who are now seeking for the nullification of these elections. So they say the elections were fraught with irregularities, and so Malawi Electoral Commission rigged the vote in Mutharika's favor. And some residents feel that the closing of course, the road that was closed today there is an infringement of the right. And of course, today is in a Monday, and usually somewhere like Lilongwe, there's a beehive of activities. People are going to their offices, people are going to schools, but that was not the case. When you see the images coming from the capital city, all malls were closed, and all the streets there were empty because people anticipated for some level of chaos from that. So after that election, President Peter Mutharika was announced to have won by 38.5% of the votes, and of course, and Mr. Chakwera coming in just in a distance second there. So it is the first time presidential elections have been legally challenged in Malawi since the country gained independence from Britain in 1964. So, Doctor, this is a very historic moment in Malawi there, especially in the judicial system there. Is it a make or break for Malawi?
It's a make or break for Malawi indeed, Miriam. The situation down there, the tense, the students being told to go back, to get out of school, go back to their parents. This is an anticipation. But there is one thing that I want to tell, which I've been telling Africans. And some of the Africans take me for a joke or a joker. No. I've been telling you that these elections, opposition in Africa, is sponsored by George Soros. By George Soros. The number of George Soros operatives today, right now, in Malawi is higher than the number of those in offices in New York. Especially, I've seen one man by name Glenn Pwani. Glenn Pwani, a well-known Zimbabwean activist working for Open Society Foundation. He has been in Zimbabwe, fixed in Zimbabwe, allied in Zimbabwe. What does it tell you? It tells you that someone has put down money. It tells you that there is nothing in Africa where you can stand for an election with money from your own people, except a government. Does it answer my question? Of the question of Uganda, therefore, when I tell my fellow Ugandans, like Besige and the rest, that you will not be able to field 322 MPs at 400 million shillings. Why do you punish us when you were already punished? Why? When the election will be declared very early in the morning, by 12 midday, Museveni would have taken the vote.
Well, the court at the
It doesn't even matter.
East Africa Court of Justice is meant to be determined this week, actually.
Today?
By that lawyer, yes.
Was it today, Mabilis? Was supposed, I haven't heard, I think they will make a ruling tomorrow.
Over this week, yes.
That is the only way, the only man I have liked and whom I have supported, and I want to be very honest, is Mabilis. He deserves my 10,000 shillings or so.
But will it make any difference?
No, it doesn't, but it is better to show to the world that you actually used intellectualism. We are well-learned people with a university called Makerere University. We don't need to pull yourselves and be beaten every morning. No, unless you have a personal problem with Museveni, which everybody knows. People, those who have a personal problem can continue to antagonize him on his territory. But if you have you have gone to school, a better school with more degrees than him, what do? You just go and do what Mabilis has done. Mabilis has gone ahead to East African Court of Justice to seek whether, and you see the implications of the East African Court of Justice on Uganda is in future President Museveni is seeking to stand as the first chairperson of East African Community. The implications, I swear, will be enormous. There are so many ways of fighting a struggle. It is not with armed struggle only, or with being thrown in a matatu or a combi or a Land Rover every minute to show that you are the one fighting for everybody. That's now personal. You have gone too personal. When it is for the nation, direct the nation where it should go. Mabilis' petition in the East African Court of Justice is a landmark case which an intelligent man who has gone to school, not a small university, the big one around London like me, I would follow. If I don't praise myself, who will praise me? Hallelujah!
So in that case, Mabilis,
yes.
The case that he took to the East African Court of Justice is challenging President Museveni's re-election.
No, he's challenging the age.
Whether
he was right
and term limits,
yes,
and whether it is in line with the East African community's governance and democracy, policy.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, okay, so how
it touches. We are getting integrated, Mark you. East Africa, one of the things what President Museveni wants, people have not studied what President Museveni wants. I have studied what he wants because I'm the longest serving opposition critic. From 1981 up to today, we have never agreed. We only agreed on the Ugandan war. And I shook hands. But never again we have left it that way. 1980, people have not studied him. President Museveni is aiming at the East African Community chairmanship. He wants to be the president of East African Community. So Mabilis and his entourage in the same court where you want to be the chairperson, there is a ruling. What do you think voters in Kenya will say?
Especially in Kenya.
No, wait, go ahead.
Especially in Kenya.
What will the voters in Kenya say? What will the voters in Tanzania say? What will the voters in Zanzibar say? If you didn't know, if people undermine the Mabilis petition that it has nothing, it has a lot.
It's heavy.
And that is one of the things. What causes all these elections? We go back to the Malawi. We go back to Nigeria. We go back. I told you. 12 countries. Can I mention them? As we wait for the results to land in.
They were supposed to already have landed in at 7 p.m. here. That is 6 p.m. That was supposed to have ended, but they asked for an extra 2 hours. So by 9 p.m. here, I think a couple of minutes, half an hour, perhaps the ruling would have been made. And of course, our media person out there will give us the results, even as he continues to receive them.
It has just come in now. Mm-hmm. It says, Justice Haley Potani, it is almost impossible to have an election that is free of any irregularities. However, in the present matter, it has been our finding that anomalies have been so widespread. Anomalies have been so widespread and systematic, and the results have been gravely affected. Hallelujah.
Does that mean a nullification?
Yeah, we know we are going.
Oh, it's just part of the still.
Aha! Mm-hmm. Mama, it is done. We hereby order the nullification of elections.
Oh no.
Malawi, breaking news. Breaking news, Malawi elections have been nullified. The second such election in Africa to be nullified.
After that, so
after Kenya.
And they are following the
Kenyan
president.
Thank you very much. The nullification of Malawi elections has occurred. President Mutharika has lost an election nullified through the court. As we are on air, the judges have just spoken. We hereby order the nullifying the election. We also order that a fresh election be held. Thank you very much, Africa. Punchline Africa, Miriam, I told you, I predicted here, I said it's going to go the other way, the Kenya way. Because of the reading, you could see that at times there were 2 ballot papers. Members of Malawi Electoral Commission could give the ballot papers.
And we have parts of the some of the ruling that was being given throughout the day. We tried to just capture a few of that. But earlier on, yesterday, the chairperson of the African Union Commission, Mr. Musa Faki Mohammed, urged all stakeholders, including political parties and their supporters, to uphold the rule of law before, during, and the following the court's verdict on the presidential election petition in Malawi that is happening. That has just happened. So I don't know, will President Peter Mutharika uphold this? Knowing, and we were questioning this yesterday, Doctor, during Africa Showdown. We're wondering, how do you go and swear somebody in who has a petition, questioning his win? Is that not setting the country for chaos? And I hope this does not happen.
Yes, and it is happening, and the elections in Malawi has been nullified. It's the second election, such election in Africa, to be nullified, following the Kenyan election and nullification in Kenya. We want to tell our viewers, wherever you are in the world, that Malawi election has been nullified.
Actually,
I think it's breaking news. Can our editorials just say breaking news?
Breaking news.
Yes, our editors behind the scenes.
Peter Mutharika's re-election
has been nullified
by the court. And of course, during the day, as the judges continued to read their verdict, they said about 3,867 forms were approved without auditors verifying them. That's a lot of forms. And then the Malawi Electoral Commission, however, failed to specify what was verified and what was not, hence admitting that not 100% of the forms were verified. And also, one of the justices, Justice Kamanga, said use of duplicates was also an irregularities, and that was used a lot of times. Also, as testified in court by Richard Chapweteka, the duplicates were used without justification, and there was an overwhelming evidence, as noted by the court, that they were indeed used as official electoral documents. So, this today ruling was supposed to be very short, because they had said that there was a ruling that will be made tomorrow at 4 p.m., the whole, the full ruling. So today, people are expecting 30 minutes, or just something very short, like what CJ Maraga did the first time, or what Mutunga did in 2013. But it appeared they took over, they went over and above the 8 hours hours that they were allocated, because this was very important for the country, and they had to explain as to why they came to that decision. So I don't know what are some of the images that are coming from Malawi right now. I don't know if you can be able to get the photos. People celebrating. Where is President Peter Mutharika? And we're hoping it will not turn into, remember we were talking about the Bible story yesterday here, who refused to leave the State House after he lost an election. But this is a person that was sworn in after a very controversial election that happened last year. And we've been questioning why this electoral process in Malawi is like this. You don't go swearing in a person who already, the win is questionable. And there's a petition in the court, to over the same win. So we are just yet to see if we can update us on what is happening, the other statements that have been made and things like that, so that we can continue updating our viewers even as we continue with this conversation. Keep writing to us and we appreciate, and please let us know where you're watching us from. And Ishmael Ajay is saying, great, we have hope in our legal system. All right, thank you so much. And Andrew Tusime, you're saying you're watching all the way from Entebbe, Uganda, and the rest of you. All right.
Thank you very much, Andrew Tesime. Ketsime, thank you very much, my brother. The Malawi presidential elections that elected President Mutharika has been nullified. This is the first election that has been nullified in the second election, nullified after the Kenyan election was nullified by Chief Justice David Kirani Maraga. This is setting a very serious precedent in Africa. The Kenyan election set a precedent. The Kenyan election gave hope. And all along the judges were quoting Kenyan cases.
They did, a lot of
They
time.
quoted the case in the Commonwealth, because Kenya is a Commonwealth country. Viewers, as we speak now on diplomatic, we said Malawi is on a tipping end. The tipping edge. Now jubilation is for the opposition. We don't know how the government will react, but we pray that the government does not act against those who are celebrating, simply because when the government won, there were people who celebrated. Viewers, keep it up. Fresh elections will be held in 150 days. Wow!
In 150 days, yeah. Usually,
This is a very terrible constitution, isn't it?
in 150 days. No,
Yes.
the constitution allows for over 3 months.
No.
150 days.
The fresh elections will be held in a period of 150 days, including Saturdays and Sundays and the public holidays of the date thereafore. The court has decided.
They're being counted.
Be careful. Be careful whenever you are going for this seat. Once that final court says you are not on the ballot,
Yes.
you are gone.
Yes. And Doctor, remember,
And it has just rained, I told you.
it's just raining outside. And
It's heavily raining in Nairobi.
yes.
Yes.
And during the reading of this ruling judgment, one of the judges said that the results announced by the Malawi Electoral Commission of the 27th of May suggest that none of the candidates was elected by a majority in accordance with Section 82 of the Constitution. And then they said it is the duty of the legislature to amend the Elections Act to reflect this. So here's the thing, and we've been questioning, the electoral rules there, laws there in Malawi that allow a president to be sworn in while there's still a petition in court, questioning his win. So now it appears the judge saw this loophole and is saying, can now Parliament go and amend some of these Elections Act to reflect, what is necessary there in Malawi?
Let me tell you, my sister, is there anybody who can follow the rules? Which electoral commission? Electoral commission in Malawi were giving votes, marked votes. Malawi Electoral Commission officials were giving marked votes. And the people were going to dump in favor of Mutharika. At least that did not happen in Kenya. I didn't see marked votes being taken. The technicality of the Kenyan election was very simple.
It was different, yes.
Was election. Where did, you know, that woman asked, can I tell the viewers, wherever you were, the woman, the Chief Justice, read this. When I heard the Deputy Chief Justice asking Uhuru Mwingai's lawyers, that where did you throw the spoiled votes? Kenyan election was nullified on that. That was the end of it. I told my friends, we are seated. I told them, what are we waiting here for? Let's prepare to go on a campaign. Once more. Honestly, I said it is over. The woman has technically knocked us out because our lawyer, the lawyer of Jubilee Party, could not come up to explain what happened to the spoiled vote.
They fumbled very much.
They fumbled.
I think they're not prepared for that question.
Next time, lawyers, when you are selecting lawyers, ask men who are sharp.
But I'm just hoping we will not find ourselves in that situation again.
We are.
In the next elections, I'm hoping.
We are, madam.
That we shall
if we don't correct the
electoral commission.
If we don't, if we don't correct the mess that we are in through BBI, if Kenya does not correct that mess through BBI, you are in for the same. Uganda is even in a worse position. That today, as we speak, Miriam, some ballot papers for a station near 5 miles away from the headquarters of the Electoral Commission.
Since 2016.
Yes, they have not arrived.
Has never arrived.
That's the Africa that we have. And I've told the people time and time again, every day, jokingly, does Africa need elections? Look at Malawi. It's a poor country. The economy is so bad. The hunger, starvation, they need relief food. They are going to spend another billions and the billions of shillings, of dollars on a re-election. Does it need an election? Do we need it in Africa? Maybe I might have got my politics wrong. Do we need election in Africa, or we need a handshake?
We need strong institutions like the Malawi court there. And remember, after the dispute of the elections, sorry about that, the United States came out and said, you know what, as much as there were irregularities in the manner in which elections were done, but the elections were free and fair. So they actually put a stamp and said, you know, the Malawian Electoral Commission did a job well done. So I don't know what, the US now will be saying after the court, they nullified the same election that they said was absolutely perfect.
Yes, but you know, there is an angle that I want to go. The number of Open Society Foundation and NGOs in Malawi elections is a clear example that Africa is not on its own. Africa has very bad enemies surrounding it, waiting to create more havoc. You know, there are so many ways of politically strangulating, political strangulation of an African country. You look at all its weaknesses. If you can't pay the army to overthrow the president, you pay the civil society to look at the loopholes. One of the loopholes that George Soros looked at is the question of opposition deputy president. We come back to it. Deputy presidents in Africa cause problems to the presidents. Time has come that the people of Africa stand. I have seen this in Kenya. It is happening. Yesterday, the deputy president stood somewhere and told off his president, his boss. You saw the wording today, this morning in the papers.
He will continue.
That behavior leads us to chaos. And for me, I'm an elder. Even if you kill me, kill me. Because I know they want to do they want to do that. It doesn't matter. But I will take the truth. You can't tell your president that I'll do what I want. Then why are you there? Why? Just go and sort your party. This rivalry has brought another re-election.
Mm-hmm. But Chawolo Silima, the deputy president, was a third distance.
No. He's number two.
Lazarus is number two.
Yeah, number two, the president. Mm-hmm. Who was the deputy is number two. The women, the woman who stole some NGO money, combined with her, with him. The deputy is the one who took the petition.
Yes, Chaulos and Lazarus.
Yes.
Chilima, Saulos, Chilima, and then Chikwera, Lazarus Chikwera.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it is in Sudan. The conflict is there. Riak was smelling the chair of Salva Kiir. You have seen where we have ended.
And we talked about it yesterday.
Yes. Here in Kenya, we are seeing that friction. It might not take long before we end there. There you are. This is the man who on a seat. This is Mutharika. This is Chatema.
Chikwera, and then the middle one is Chilima.
Chilima, yes. So look at them. There is one thing that these countries in Africa present, and don't get me wrong, and look at it. All these countries that were led by the first-hand strongmen who united the countries with a single party are the countries that are causing problems today.
Or maybe it's just democracy.
No, can I shake my hand? Honestly.
Maybe it's just democracy.
Can I name for you?
It's gaining momentum.
Can I name for you? Yes. Look at the countries. Mobutu Sese Seko, a one party. It is in chaos. Uganda, a one-party state. Obote united people. Thanks God there is no more tribalism in Uganda. That was Obote's slogan. Move to the left. 1+3, 1+2 system of election. If you elected a member of parliament from northern Uganda, you go and stand also in southern Uganda. So that the MP in Kisoro, the people in Kisoro can know you. So you are not a member of parliament only for Gulu. You are also a member of parliament for Kisoro. National unity. You see where Uganda is? Let's go. 20. Mugabe. Where are we? A one-party rule. Let's go. Kamuzi Banda. Malawi. The man ruled Malawi, and Malawi was one of the most. You could not go. You liked to go to Blantyre. Blantyre, the city of yawning hills. I've slept there in one of the best hotels. Those days of Kamuzi Banda, honeymoons were done across there. One party state. Emperor Haile Selassie, one party state. Somalia, General, my friend, Siad Barre. Siad Barre ruled Somalia, united Somalia, and a fist. A one-party state. It is broken down. Look there. Look, I'm counting you the countries. Let's go down. Rwanda. President Chikombero, President, all this, they were one state party men. They held the country. They saw the unity in one party state. There was unity, cohesion. Even the smaller states could breathe within the bigger ones. When they killed him, what happened in Rwanda? When they overthrew the king, what happened in Rwanda? Let's go across Burundi. A one-party state existed. Let's go. We are going on. Gabriel Nasa, Egypt, when he left, you have seen Hosni Mubarak, gone. Anwar Sadat, gone. The Morsi, gone. This one now has even extended. That's Africa for you. Do we need elections? Do we need elections in Africa? Look at all the states that have fragmented. They have collapsed. They have collapsed, literally collapsed. All the states that I've mentioned today, from Bera Bera, a one-party state, in Algeria, you have seen how many people, how they change governments. They just decided like the ghost and the spirit comes like they say, we go, demonstrate, we want that one out. He's gone. Algeria, Tunisia, President Abibu, one party state. I'm counting for you in Africa. It is here. Ghana has just stabilized. Nkrumah swept and moved and created a communist style of politics. 1965, he fell. Wali Mugonga, while he was in Russia, General Achampong, his own nephew, brother-in-law though, he arrived at the gates of State House, he took over power. General Achampong. Forget, some people think that it was Rawlings who overthrew Nkrumah.
No.
You know some of the, yeah, but some people.
Rawlings coup happened
Came later.
In the 80s, yes.
Look at all this. Siad Barre had made Somalia an organized state. He had finished the wars that were in Somalia. He had done the greatest need of what the world is. Some monster came in and said, oh, we want federal states. We want devolution. Americans lied to Siad Barre that devolution was the best way to govern Somalia. I did, and the rest of the generals came in and said, goodbye. Somalia has never recovered. Emperor Bokassa, Jane Bokassa, Central African Republic, it's gone. Liberia, Torbert, William Torbert, assassinated. The country has never regained. Sergeant Doe killed Torbert. Torbert left, was killed. Sergeant Doe was also killed. The country has never regained. The ghosts of those killed, still spirits come to haunt the leaders. Mengistu Haile Mariam destroyed and killed Emperor Haile Selassie. Ethiopia will never be the same. Ethiopia is moving towards disintegration. They are already seeking states, independent states.
They are.
Hallelujah. Let's go. There are many countries. Chad. The first leaders were very good. Cameroon. Ahidjo. President Ahidjo of Cameroon overthrown by this lumpen here. You see this man, 89 years, is still on it, with his wife wearing a wig of $1 million. They are still governing it, molesting, eating, roasting people in their ovens. They are molesting or roasting Amazonians. There is no peace there. Gabon, the father left the father, the son. The son now cannot move.
Yeah, he's sick.
But he's still holding to power.
Over 50 years of the Bongo family still in.
Yes, look at that. Why? They are holding the unity. There is a mercenary there called Jean Ping, a French mercenary who comes to destroy Gabon. Look at those countries. Gambia. Sir, the man who died now, Sir somebody died from Britain. He was removed, overthrown by Yaya Jammeh. Dawala something.
Yeah, he died last year.
Yes. I know the daughter, a very great friend of ours. Look, the country has never stabilized. Sierra Leone, the country has never stabilized. So, what is it that Africa needs to learn from these upheavals? What is it? The only country that remained stable after the death of the president, the first founding father, is Kenya and Tanzania. Have you noticed that? You are unique. But in Kenya and in Tanzania, now Tanzania, George Soros has arrived. He is in every corner of Dar es Salaam. If you talk differently and they hear you, they will report to Washington. You will not travel there. Have you seen what has arrived in Tanzania? It seems it is going the direction.
An opposition leader wrote to the World Bank telling the World Bank to withhold the funds that are supposed to be coming to the country to fund the schools, secondary schools there. And so yesterday the ruling party was not very happy with him, and they were just chastising him because why did he write to the World Bank to put more sanctions?
They are putting sanctions because they just want to demonize Tanzania. Tanzania, there is one thing that the imperialists can never forget. Imperialism is never defeated. Even if it takes 50 years, even if it takes 50 years, they will look for you. Nyerere defeated imperialists by bringing Ujamaa villages. They have never forgiven him. He's dead, but they have never forgiven him. Mugabe defeated them on the field. He's dead, but they cannot forgive Mnangagwa. Mandela defeated them. He's dead, but they will never forgive Mandela. They are not people who forgive. They will not. They will come through another black man like a Mamusi, like a Malema, and tell Malema to tell people to leave farms or occupy them by force. And the country will go to chaos, to the dogs. That is what imperialism is. It will never forgive you. It will never. They have never forgiven the defeat by Mau Mau in this country. If there was a chance, They will come, and with now the nuclear weapon, they will come for us. If you can look at what happened to Gaddafi in Africa when they went for Gaddafi, that is the sense of it. And that is what we want to say. And we want it. I don't know what this man wants. He say, Miriam, tell us about Malawi. We are not going to discuss.
But there's a comment here by Ishmael at J.
Yes, let's talk. We have talked about Malawi. We have given the ruling about Malawi. We don't want a patronage on our television.
No, there's a comment here that is very nice from Ishmael. I'll leave Haji, he's just having fun there. The Kenyan and the Malawian example is good for African states. However, the judicial bodies in various African states should be mindful of more electoral petitions in the upcoming years. In view of that, judicial bodies in Africa must start to review their electoral rules in order to set limits on how and what to petition. They must also work on the time frame with regards to electoral rulings, because delays can also lead to other problems. A very, very sober-minded comment there.
There is no sober mind there. What they have wasted.
Saying, no, that person. You see the way the Kenyan election was.
Yes.
The President Uhuru Kenyatta could not be sworn in until this case was.
Next time the parliament should change. Why doesn't the parliament sit down to change the law that before swearing in, there must be complete finish of the court process, the judicial process must be finished. You see, Buhari went ahead to swear himself, even as if he knew that the petition was going to go against.
The matter was determined in October last year.
When he was already 1 year in presidency.
February, that is when the elections happened. So it is some of these things that our viewer there is saying that perhaps now moving forward, some of these laws should be changed so that, because now this will cause more chaos. I want to see how Pucha Mutharika will react tomorrow or even today.
He can't react, he's no longer the president.
You think he will leave?
From the nullification now, the powers go back to this, there is no Speaker of National Assembly. So the powers go back to the same judge who made the ruling today. Justice Potani. Justice Potani takes over power for 100. He has even increased how many months are those? 5 months?
Thereabout. 150 days.
Yes.
Because in Kenya it is that. But it's supposed to be 90 days. I don't
know.
But they require...
No, it is a constitutional court. There is nowhere you are going to...
to take any further. It is the final.
There is nowhere you are going to complain.
Yes.
They have just decided. The judge also wants to test the power. Because Mutharika is out, the Chief Justice, the Parliament is sacked. You know? Unless...
Only
the presidential. If the Speaker of Parliament is there, then now the Speaker of Parliament automatically takes over power. But the opposition might refuse. You know what?
Yes.
The opposition won the Parliament. Yes. Opposition in Malawi won Parliament and lost presidential. And it brings us to one intellectual question I want to ask. Why do African countries want a hybrid system? Why is it? I may ask Mo Mohammed because he thinks he knows something. Can you tell us why there is a hybrid in Africa?
I think
you take a president, you elect MPs, then you elect president. Why don't you elect the MPs? Out of the MPs, you have the ruler.
Yes.
There will be no chaos.
Now the parties will be left fighting for the leadership
of
the parties.
You can see now parties will be stronger if we introduce the South African model, where parties, the highest vote hunter party takes the leader, forms the government.
Automatically, yes.
But when you introduce a hybrid constitution, like the constitutions of Kenya here, the mess of Kenya comes from this thing called presidential election. MPs, have you seen MPs fighting? No. But when they hear the president, bas, kufa na kuona, Raila would rather lie down on the tarmac. And the other side would say, no way, we won.
Well, Moses Kuria is doing the same.
Moses Kuria said, let's get pangas. You know, Moses Kuria said, we get pangas and go under.
Yeah, he said,
you know?
That. Unfortunately, yes.
So,
it's very interesting there. I don't know. I did not see this coming very much, but it has, I think, taken the continent by surprise. President Peter Mutharika's...
That is the first past post.
Yes.
Yeah, at least you are a bit intelligent. Yeah, first past post. But the people don't like it in Africa. Museveni would not like to hear that. What? But in fact, even if you put the first past post for Museveni, he will win. NRM will win. There is no political opposition in Uganda. It's not there. It's just, you see, this guy writes things that I don't want to know. He said machete. Nobody is looking for machete here.
Leave Mohaji alone. Mohaji, thank you.
We have done very well. While we are on air, we want to recap our final analysis. Any question, any other things we want to touch?
Not quite, because we were going to talk about this whole election, and of course, coming on set, the verdict was not out there, but after just a few minutes sitting here,
Look at Mohaji. Yes, strangulation. Yeah. My student, don't worry, from Mogadishu.
Is he from Mogadishu?
Yes. This guy is in Mogadishu.
How comes
Mohaji Abidi?
With all those bombs and locusts going on in Mogadishu, he can afford...
He has got... I think he should be a very high-ranking officer because he watches everything in Mogadishu.
Do they have that very good internet there in Mogadishu?
Yes.
Okay.
Some of them have come with satellite phones. You know, there is now a satellite phone which you put two things. Anywhere, any network. Walai ya Mungu. Hakuna network itashinda.
She's saying he loves you very much. You are his...
Loves what, my boss? You are my senior. Hey, look at this guy. He's in Mogadishu. They have come with you know, the thing is long like this.
He's saying he's what, AK-47. Who owns? You have one or what? I don't know. I don't know what he means by that. But
he's in Mogadishu where they are.
Right.
They are manufactured there. Thank you very much, Mo Mohammed. Thank you very much, Brigadier General Mohammed. This is terrible. God bless you, all of you. Now, this is. Don't forget South Sudan. Oh. Don't go without talking about South Sudan. They will not forgive us.
Ogebe Omosh, where were you in the morning? We spoke about South Sudan.
We spent a lot of time.
So much. But today, the meeting started for the last touches.
So has Riaka dropped his...
No, today they were meeting with the mediators were meeting today, and then tomorrow they shall meet with the other parties, the other stakeholders, the other parties, that is Machar and Salva Kiir. Today only the mediators were meeting, led by South African Vice President Mr. David Mabusa. The meeting. So tomorrow, now they will engage with the other stakeholders and other parties, and of course, the matter of states.
You want me to say something?
Go ahead. And US, just before you say something, Doctor, the US appointed a special envoy to South Sudan. They did not return the ambassador that they had recalled, but they appointed a special envoy to South Sudan to look at the peace deal.
Do you know what? Which deal is there? The mediator of this peace cannot deliver peace.
The mediator of this peace cannot deliver.
Yes.
That is South Africa.
Yes, I'm not very comfortable with South Africa mediator.
But Kiir had gone there over the weekend. I don't know what...
Yeah, he can go 2 million times, but I'm not happy.
To look for a business deal?
Yes, I'm not happy.
Why do you say that?
South Africa has never impressed me in any negotiation on this continent. I can name for you areas where South Africa apart from Mbeki. After Mbeki, South Africa is bankrupt. It should never lead any peace ever on this continent. I speak as an African. Don't beat about the bush. This South African vice president should leave South Sudan and allow another person to come. They are going for business. They don't. Zuma allowed Gaddafi to be killed. Zuma voted with France to kill Gaddafi. I hate anywhere to see South Africa, anywhere, getting involved. I am even worried that South Africa is going to take over the African Union. We are sold. We are sold.
That is this month, I think.
Yes. That's it. I speak the truth.
Do you think they're neutral?
We lost. They need what?
Do you think they're neutral in this matter?
Neutral what? Where's neutrality? They are looking for business. Look, they have taken troops into Central African Republic, Bangui. They are mining and carrying diamonds instead of stopping feed. Don't tell me. Don't. Let's close the program and go home. Right. Don't. South Africa is not worth it. If they cannot allow Africans to go through that country, you need 1 million documents to enter South Africa. What is South Africa, my foot? They should not be given that. Your Excellency, President, and others listening to me, that peace process is going to collapse. I swear, I know, I'm telling you. Sindio tuko hapa. It will collapse. I'm not comfortable with South Africa heading it. And I think I'm going to speak it. I have a program on Sky News next week. I will blow it up, man. That babuza, sidu babuza what?
Babuza.
Go back.
David, here's your name.
That thing, the Sudan, South Sudan peace process needs men like Chisano. Chisano is credible. Chisano solved the problem of Madagascar. To tell me this man of Sabuza, these are all traitors.
Just call him your namesake.
I don't want even, is he David?
His name is David Mabuza.
Oh no. These are not, South Africa can never negotiate even a small matter between a rat and a cat. They have never succeeded. Look at Burundi. Look at Burundi. Look at Burundi. What happened in Burundi? When Zuma was put in place, he went to buy diamonds.
But Burundi is a very special case because even Tanzania tried.
No, Tanzania came in and finished.
No, they refused.
No, last minute they withdrew. But the first peace talks,
because
it was South Africa that was initiating the first peace talks. The DRC peace talks in southern city. I was there. South Africa is one of the worst places where you can do a peace deal.
For Africa.
I'm honest. So go and kill me. Do I need to go to South Africa for what? For what?
But in Nkurunziza, doctor, it's very difficult. It's a very difficult.
They are very bad people. They hate. No, South Africa is in South Sudan to look for diamonds and oil and other things. They are not for their industry. They are not negotiating a peace process. I am telling you, this peace process is going to collapse.
So you're siding with Machar,
yeah.
who said that
I am. You know what? Look at me.
That David Mabuza was biased towards.
Yeah. There you are.
He was siding.
I've told you.
President Salva Kiir.
I talked to the yak. Don't think I'm stupid. I'm talking with serious authority. This thing is not going to work. If those who think that I'm stupid, you watch.
19 days to go.
It will not work. They are double dealers, double wheelers. Zuma killed Gaddafi. Zuma, may God get you on corruption charge, they lock you up. They killed Gaddafi. Because they were rivalry. South Africa always rival. You know South Africa can rival you even on a seat of UN. South Africa hates Kenya here. It is just a small, what is it, cosmetic. Cosmetic color. But they hate. South Africa never can South Africa succeed in, apart from one man. If the South African government wanted this peace process to work, they would have deployed Mbeki. Because I saw Mbeki on Darfur. He silenced the guns. The guns went silent. Darfur came back. Darfur is in the fault. The process started. But South Africa with Buza, sijui Buza. Mabuza what?
Just call him David.
David who? This name has gone wrong, man. David who? Mabuza cannot even negotiate. He can't speak.
But he's been speaking.
Where?
in South Sudan.
I am telling you, but are we not here? Me, I told you that on that last day, I will call Dr. Riek Machar. If he has not signed that agreement, I will now read it for him and tell him the country that is going to take him to the tribunal. You hear me? Mm-hmm. The same to Salva Kiir. These countries don't listen to black Africans. When a black African like Mathanga tells them that I can do better PR for you because I will speak knowing where River Nile turns the corner, where the Blue Nile meets the White Nile, but they bring Wazungu who have got to use Africans to go and find out where the Blue Nile comes from. They don't know where the White Nile comes from. They even tell you White Nile comes from Sahara Desert.
Well, Mohaji thinks South Sudan is in Nairobi, so I don't know what you said.
My brother, you know the biggest problem?
Your student is not very well.
The biggest problem of South Sudan is like, you know that the leadership there is like a Faramijo. Let me hit on Faramijo. Faramijo is the same as these people here. You talk with him today, he runs to Turkey to ask them. Then he runs to Qatar. Then he runs to another country. Then he runs to this. You see this? This is the trouble of Africa. South Africa cannot negotiate peace. The only people who can negotiate peace from that region are Thabo Mbeki and Chisano. President Chisano is a straightforward. Is not a deal wheeler. Chisano is a very poor man. Very, very poor. I'm telling you, he never stole any money. I have traveled with him in very hard conditions. And he pulls out the $100 and said, David, let's share this. That's the type of man in Africa we need. He said, let's share this, let's buy this. He's not a man who has stolen money. That is Chisano. Such a man has a heart. He understands. He looks at... Chisano managed to bring peace in Uganda. Without Chisano, that thing was going haywire. Some of us demanded the plane to leave. And then tell the boys, we have left. So you do what you want now. Come. Because Museveni came to threaten us in Juba. He came to threaten us. How you have threatened us? We have run away. You come to threaten us here. Hey, we ran away. We said we are going. Chisano came and pleaded in the hotel. He's a very good guy. He can do a peace talks. Sibuza or Zabuza or whatever you call Zabuzi, David who. That is useless, waste of money. This thing is going to collapse. They have already started asking for extra time. What does that mean? As we finish.
That means they will not get it. They better not. Nobody will give them extra time. They were told the world is fed up, so they better get that message straight home and understand that the world is fed up. And this comes from the biggest donor, the United States. So stop playing.
The biggest donor with IGAD. IGAD can also negotiate peace. Where?
Forget IGAD.
Do they have money?
Forget IGAD.
This IGAD begs money from donors. Do they have money? Jamen, let's talk the truth. The only thing is to safeguard my country. That's my only thing. It's my country, Uganda, that the war does not come back there in northern Uganda as a result of the northern, the South Sudan conflict. Because if you create a war around there, you could resurrect the ghosts that are around there. That's all I can say. Thank you very much on my behalf and on behalf of the team that has been here for the whole 4 years. I want to take this opportunity to thank you. I want to take this opportunity to encourage you to always follow Punchline Africa Television. We shall be ready tomorrow afternoon. We shall give you the morning show at as early as 9 o'clock, and then thereafter we shall do a bit of renovations here and there, and then we shall be anchoring from the satellite system. Miriam will be on the satellite system most of the time to make sure that he keeps you updated. It is ready for you for that minute as we do our service of the equipment and so on and so forth. I want to thank all of you, thank everybody, all our viewers, wherever you were, yes, everywhere, that we can work together. Miriam, I just want to take this opportunity to thank you. To thank you so much for having been a very good student. At times I have been very rough man.
That's fine.
But you have been...
I'm the shock absorber.
Yes, you have been so encouraging for me. Yes. I don't know what to say, Miriam.
It's okay.
I bet I don't want to miss you 1 inch.
We shall be here tomorrow.
Yes.
So we're not saying goodbye. We shall be here tomorrow.
You see the way you talk, you even calm me down. Because at times Africa pains me, Miriam.
You're very passionate.
Yes, Africa pains me.
It does too.
Yes, look at that. At what they did to Gaddafi. There is no president today who can even remember that Gaddafi used to give them money. Even my own president Museveni, he is the only one who talks about Libya. The rest have kept quiet.
Yes.
So you can see while you are on earth, you can see how they can treat you when you are gone. God bless you. God bless Africa. Malawi, you've done it. Second country in Africa, pop.
To
nullify elections. Setting what they call a precedent.
Kenya did, so they're just following that.
Yes.
We were the first, and Mohaj is saying they have your back, and he loves you. He's always there. He's very grateful. Your student there is appreciating your lessons there. So thank you so much. We'll see you here tomorrow.
Thank you. This station, therefore, is for Africa, with Africa, by Africa. Ciao.
must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.